Okay, so today is going to continue what yesterday was. Yesterday was shooting around corners. Today's going to continue shooting around corners and then also entering, as you mean shooting, entering into a doorway and then shooting as you enter a doorway. I just want to clarify a few things from yesterday. I thought maybe I wasn't 100% clear. So there is a practical application of this for the regular civilian. Obviously, police officers in my regular job, even last night when I was at work, um, we cleared houses. We had to go around corners, we had to go around doors, we had to go through doors, and I do this almost at least on a weekly basis, sometimes even on a daily basis. If we do this, even as a civilian, there is a reason to know how to enter a doorway and how to go maneuver around a house with a gun, right? So it could be that first of all, it could be World War III breaks loose and there's zombies in the street, right? It could be you're living in Kfar Aza and there's some crazy stuff going on. Even outside of that, just a normal day-to-day application outside of World War III or living in Israel let's say you hear something. You don't actually think someone's in your house, or there's there's a bump in the night. I don't know. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something fell down. You just want to check it out. You're not going to call. It doesn't warrant calling 911, but you want to check it out just just to make sure that everything's okay. So there's a way to do it. So at least you do it in the safest way possible. So you get your gun, you clear your house. The reason I do it is for that reason. Also, because I'm a police officer. Also, I find it fun, to go around houses and pretend like you're a cowboy. Actually, maybe I really am a cowboy. Who knows? Okay, but really, there is a real life application. Okay, so what's the idea? When I'm outside my doorway, I can see my whole entire room, right? The whole entire room from outside of the door, right? Before I even go into the room, I can see everything besides for basically 10% of the room, that corner, right? The corner that my phone's in. So before I even get in, before I even pass this threshold, I can see everything. I just have to look in just over here to see if there's someone in this corner, in this far corner. So when I do this, I want to expose the smallest part of my body as possible. Okay, so this is how it looks, right? A small little part of my body before I actually go in. I just want to show another angle of that so you understand what I was doing. Again, I'm inside the door. I'm outside. This is the room. I'm outside the room still. So I want to make sure that, right? So the only pointer I would say, besides for the fact you have to tuck in your shoulder, tuck in your elbow, right, and just lean out a little bit. You have to be a little bit nimble. There's two points. One is that before you actually enter the room, don't get too close to the threshold. Why? Because then you risk exposing your shoulder, right? We said your lower body is thinner than your upper body. Your upper body is your arms. And it goes it's a few inches wider than your lower body. So if you get too close I'll just go down there. If you get too close to the threshold, you risk possibly exposing a little bit of your shoulder, and then you lose your element of surprise. You also show yourself as a target before you actually go into the room. So what you want to do is stay a few inches back, maybe like a foot or even more back, and then we know you're going to go in aggressively. Again, don't put your foot through the door because you don't need to, but put your foot aggressively close to the threshold. At the same time, right, go through with your upper body and half your face, right? Do the minimal entrance into the room. The other thing I will say is that you should move. So naturally, you want to have your gun, even if you have it sideways, you have it straight. If you're going into the corner, so don't have your gun straight, have it turned in to that corner. Why? So you'll see. I'll show you exactly what happens if you don't turn in your gun, if you just have it straight. So if I just hold my gun to the side, but just straight like this is how it looks. I'll do it a little slowly. Right? I have to go in. My gun breaks the threshold, and I still have to turn and face it towards the corner, that's the only place I actually don't know if there's a person there. If I turn my gun already have it turned in, right? This is if I had it straight. So I have to go through the threshold and then turn. If I have it already turned in like this, so there's less, it's just a quicker movement. I'm already in the corner. I don't have to go this and then this. It's already turned in. So before you go into the corner, just instead of having your gun straight, have it as turned into that corner as possible before you even break the threshold. So again, it looks like this. Right? That was just going over how to break a threshold, how to shoot around a corner, how to have your gun shoot sideways, have your elbow in, turn the gun in, and hit that corner without exposing your body. There are going to be situations where possibly you'd actually want to, just expand this a little bit, where you'd actually want to go into the room. I don't know. And again, it's hard to, sometimes you just want to maybe peek in, but sometimes you actually, maybe you know there's someone in there and you actually want to take a shot. So there's a different methodology. Instead of just going in like this, where you just expose a little bit and then just stay minimally exposed, there's another technique or tactic is that you actually want to make entry into the room, but not how you would naturally think. If I said, okay, there's a person in the corner and I want to make entry into the room, what would I do? I would go like this, right? I would go towards the threat. That's not smart, because if the camera is a person shooting back at me, it's very easy for them to shoot at me continually a bunch of times. They just go bam, 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 and I'm just going straight at them. I'm just taking rounds. So we really would do, what makes a little bit more sense, is going like this. Is moving along the opposite wall, right? So then the person who's in the corner, he's waiting for you with a gun. Instead of just going bam, 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 he has to now go bam, 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 bam. It makes it a little bit harder for him to actually shoot you, especially if he's not a good shot. So now he has to track you along the wall as you're moving. So obviously, as soon as you make entry into the room, if you really think there's someone in there and you're really trying to do it properly, you have to get there aggressively and you have to move quickly, right? So it's going to look like this. Where you really move quickly. Again, this is all part of dry firing. Why? Because you're not really, it's all dry, right? You're not shooting into the wall, but it's still some things we have to practice, and for the most part, we can't practice in our normal ranges. So I'll just do it one more time. And for this, when you actually make entry, so then you're not concealing your leg, just make sure that when your gun comes around, your leg comes around at the same time, right? You don't want to hide your legs, then you'll be off balance. And you're going into the room anyway. Just don't take a first step how you usually step with your feet in front of your body. Don't do that. Move sideways so your arm and your leg are exposed at the same time. Right? So you don't give that person in the corner an extra tenth of a second to react because they see your leg before your body and your arm is actually pointed at him. Make sure your arm and your gun is pointing at him at the same time that your leg is exposed. So it looks like this. Okay, there's definitely going to be some people are a little skeptical. They're going to say this is not practical. And look, if you don't do this, it's okay. Any type of dry firing, even things which aren't the most practical, it's still good training. Why? Because at least you're touching your gun. At least you're practicing, at a minimum, you're practicing your grip. You're going like this, you're practicing your grip. Maybe you'll actually, when you go in, you'll shoot in the corner. And you're practicing everything. So everything is useful, even if maybe you're never going to clear your house. And if anyone breaks into your house, even if your baby's downstairs, you're just going to leave them there and call 911, wait 15 minutes for the police to come. Even if you're that person, or if you're someone from Beezer, or if someone breaks into your neighbor's house, you're just going to, sit there and let them get beat up. Or people are getting carjacked in your street, just going to let them get beat up. Even if you're a Beezer Jew, I would say, it's still practical to train this way, because at a minimum, you're still practicing your trigger press, if you want to shoot, if you want to press the trigger, and your good grip, right?